Justin, if you're an influencer or you're a content creator or you just are someone who works in marketing and you want to publish videos or vlogs and things like that, can you use someone else's music or are there any problems with that?
If somebody creates music, you can't just take music from the internet and put it into your video. Um, Now, a lot of times what happens is that if a random person puts music into a random video and puts it on YouTube, they may just have a takedown notice and the video just disappears and that's it. But once you switch over and you're an influencer or you're a marketing company or you're a big company, you have to be very careful about what music you put in and making sure you have rights to that music. Because if you don't get the rights, you can get sued. And it's just as short as that. And these are not sometimes these are not inexpensive depending on how it was used.
Well, how do you get the
Um,
rights? Like that would be a question I'd
so
have.
yeah, that's a good question. You usually to get the right if it's a big song, you usually have to figure out who the rights manager is, and normally there's somebody who manages the catalog, and then you just negotiate for that. Um, the way that this happens, unfortunately, the way this happens a lot of times is that somebody's working on a video, they put in a placeholder song into the video, not intending it for it to be the final thing, and then people forget. And then if it gets released on, a national either commercial or some other thing, that becomes a pretty big problem pretty quickly. So it's important, just like we talked about a few weeks ago about photos and other content, you really have to screen and make sure you have rights to music before you do it. Now, the other way is that you can subscribe to some of these. There are services that have just music, just background music, and you can subscribe to those and get those if you really need music for whatever it is you're doing. But yeah, you have to be very careful about this because a lot of times it's a mistake and that doesn't matter.
I have one last question about this. Does it make a difference if you're using the music for personal, postings versus business or advertising, or is there no distinction?
It does and it doesn't, right? Because the practical impact is that if you just have the radio on in the background, right, and you're shooting some sort of video, maybe somebody does a takedown, but it's in that situation, it's much less likely that you're going to get sued or that that's going to become a big issue because you weren't actually intending to use that music. It's different if you intended to use the music and you're launching it in a way that music is part of your production. And it also depends on what kind of use it is. So there are a lot of factors that go into it, and it's kind of a spectrum. But at the end of the day, it's somebody else's music. You can't use it, right? That's the default. So the damages discussion is a little bit different.